What can Real Madrid learn from the Nations League final? So, if you didn't watch this game, Portugal played against Spain in the final of the Nations League, and Portugal eventually won on penalties. Spoiler alert, sorry. And it was well worth the watch. Fascinating to the last. And I do believe that there were some very big performances from certain players on the pitch. Others flattered to deceive, perhaps. But the ones in particular that I'm going to highlight in today's video are of significant importance, particularly because of Real Madrid. The first is Dean Howson. For those of you that are not perhaps familiar with Dean Howson or haven't had a chance to watch him play for Bournemouth in the Premier League, you got a true insight into the type of footballer that he is. He is a centre-back, unlike the players that we currently have at Real Madrid, because he plays the ball forward. Every opportunity, he's playing the ball into forwards, he's taking it out from the back, and he's confident. And you can tell by the measure of the passes, because they're fast and into feet. He's asserting his dominance on the game, and it's great to see, because that's exactly what we need. We need players to fish the ball out from the back and take us to the front quickly, because that's how we're starting attacks. When you've got the likes of Kylian Mbappe, absolute pace in spades, you want to release him, and you need players like this to do it. The second player that I want to highlight is one that I talked about in yesterday's video, and that is Martin Zubimendi. Zubimendi, I thought, had an outstanding game, but he surprised me in certain regards. I was not surprised by the number of forward passes that he played, because this is a part of his game. At the end of the day, it's one of the main reasons that we're linked with him, because perhaps the likes of Tchouaméni and Valverde are a little bit reluctant to do this, or it's not part of their repertoire. But think about the number of times that he fishes the ball out to Nico Williams on the left wing, who's just waiting to run at the fullback. And I just started thinking about how this could apply to our team, and the thought of isolating Vinicius with an opposing fullback. It's mouthwatering, isn't it? Because that's what you want. You want to create those situations where your players are favoured. And I fancy Vinicius against most fullbacks in world football. So I can definitely see how he could integrate into the team. But the thing which surprised me the most was the sheer number of times that Zubimendi found himself in the opposition penalty area. And the reason for this is perhaps because I myself, and you might be the same, are perhaps guilty of the common misconception that he is the deep-lying playmaker, the six, the guy who wants to orchestrate the play, the controller, and he shields the back four and he plays those passes from deep, the way that Toni Kroos did in his latter years at Real Madrid. And it couldn't be further from the truth, because what I saw last night was a player who interchanged regularly with Pedri, with Fabian Ruiz. They all found themselves in different areas of that midfield, but they were comfortable in those situations. And that's how he ended up so far forward at times, because the other two were dropping back whilst he was making those runs. Remind you of anyone? To me, it reminded me of Paris Saint-Germain. And let's be honest, they are probably the best run midfield in the world right now. But they've got those three midfielders who interchange positions. They're very comfortable. And the fact that Zubimendi is comfortable in a system that operates with such tactical flexibility can only be a good thing if indeed he does end up at Real Madrid. Now, I've talked about this previously. I do believe that we do still have the solution in-house. That does not mean that if we bring in a Martin Zubimendi, I think he would be a success. I really do, because he does have that profile already, and that's the key. Because the likes of Bellingham, Valverde, Tchouaméni, no doubt in my mind that Xabi Alonso can coach them and bring this out of them. It's funny to think about having those sit-down conversations between Xabi Alonso and the likes of Tchouaméni. Just pass the ball forward, mate. That's all I want you to do. But it takes a little bit of know-how to understand the game and to understand where those opportunities are to play the game, to play the correct pass, I should say, into the forwards, or to play it out wide. And it looks like he's got that ability and he's got it in spades. So personally, I would welcome him. Watching this performance, it really did open my eyes to the kind of player that he is and the kind of things that he could bring to Real Madrid to benefit this team moving forward. Aside from that, the only other point I wanted to make was the performance of Nuno Mendes at left back for Portugal. He was outstanding. an absolute monster. We know that he's had an incredible season for Paris Saint-Germain, but what he did to Lamine Yamal was unreal. He silenced the boy. Lamine Yamal has been one of the most dangerous attackers in world football this season, and Nuno Mendes completely took him out of the game. And how did he do it? Aggression. He was tight to him. He made him know that he was close, and he wasn't afraid to knock the ball past him. Look at Ronaldo's goal. Incredible. Incredible from Nuno Mendes. And it really plays into that old adage, that the best form of defence is a good offence. And he exemplifies that in spades. I thought it was a really fascinating game, and I think that there are several players in that team or on that pitch that we can learn something from. But what did you think? Did you enjoy the game? Did you think that it was perhaps a little bit long-winded? By the way, scrap extra time. What an absolute waste. Just go straight to penalties. All the players want that as well. We want that as the viewer. We all want to go home. But aside from that, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Take care.